Welcome to MMO Revisited. I'm Yanny with Yanny's Videos. Today we're going to be heading back into Lord of the Rings Online. This game was developed by Turbine. It was published by Turbine Codemasters and Midway Games. It was released April 24th, 2007. This game had a big blow up when it first came out, and now we're going to be taking a dive back in and see what's changed since launch. First thing we're going to be taking a look at is the character creation process. There's been a lot of expansions over the years to Lord of the Rings Online. Nothing much has changed in the character creation screen or classes and races. The last time there was a change was with the first expansion, Mines of Moria. With that expansion came two new classes, which was the Runekeeper and the Warden. As we see here, there's a decent amount of classes that we can choose from: Burglar, Captain, Champion, Guardian, so on and so forth. When they added the Runekeeper and Warden, basically one was a spell user and the other one was kind of a tank and DPS. Those have been basically the only changes in classes. When it comes to race, nothing has changed. It's still man, dwarf, hobbit, elf, just like when the game launched in 2007. Alright, now on to the character design screen. On the left, we have Select Origin, where you can basically choose the origin of the character, and under each of those tabs, you see your lore and your naming guidelines for what it'd be like if somebody was from that area, and the lore behind your character, basically for RP purposes. You can still design your head, hairstyle, eye color, which is exactly how it was in 2007, and body type. Nothing really has changed in this screen. So now we're going to be logging into Lord of the Rings Online, taking a look at the game. We're going to be using Grimberg, a level 27 dwarf champion. Now the first thing we're going to be looking at today is graphics. This game was released in 2007. I remember in 2007 the game looked very nice at launch. Now looking at it many years later, the game does show some age, but the lighting, the shadowing, it all still looks very good. This is on ultra high quality. So if you definitely dub down the graphics some, you can see a big difference in time and age. So leaving that note, first thing we're going to be going into now is the Lord of the Rings Online store that you use Turbine points for. This game uses the free-to-play model and subscriber model. So for people that do play free-to-play, you could purchase stuff with in-game currency, such as here. This is the Lord of the Rings store. Now, this game has one thing that I was very impressed with, is the amount of content that the store had. There is a lot of stuff in here. And for example, the expansion packs. This game has had a lot of expansion packs, such as new items, everything. And you can use your Turbine points to buy said items and these expansion packs. Now, they do take quite a bit of Turbine points to get. So looking at it, I mean, it could take some time to save up for one. It'll take quite a bit of time. But for the most part, a free-to-play player can still get those expansion packs. And just looking at all the countless items that it has in here, it is very, very impressive. There is just countless amounts of stuff in here. Turbine is always adding cool stuff, so you can always check the current sales and best sellers to see what's really hot right now in the store. Next thing we're going to be going over is the looking for group tool or instant finder. This I've played for the past few days, and this is a drastic need, I believe, in Lord of the Rings Online, and I'll explain why at the end of the video. You have three types of instant finder. You get your simple, advanced, and specific. Simple is pick your role, pick you want to do instance or skirmish, and go. Advanced, you can choose if you want to do either or both, how big you want your group, and basically what instances or skirmishes you want to do. It gives you a lot more options. Now, specific, you pick which one you want to do, how big you want the group, how hard you want it, and you go and do it. What I like about it is it definitely gives you different options, which I think is really cool in this game. Next thing we're going to be going over is crafting. I played the game when the game came out at launch, and crafting was really cool. And one thing I've noticed jumping back into it, that nothing has changed with the crafting. It looks the exact same as it did. The only difference really is obsolete item. You can break down obsolete items and turn them into something newer, which I think is kind of cool because when you start bringing out expansions, a lot of those old items just kind of get vendored and tossed into the trash. So I think that's kind of a cool addition to the game. I was a prospector and forester on this character. I did more forester than prospecting. I was a blacksmith on another character, and that was a lot of fun. Next thing we're going to be looking at is inventory. The bag spots are still in the same spot. The inventory still works the same way. You have your bags, you get a bag, and you drop it down there, and you can use it for inventory purposes. Next thing I'm going to be showing you is the character skill tree. This is new. This was not a part of the game when the game launched. How it was when the game launched is you had race traits and virtue traits. And outside of the stats you get from gear, that was how you would level. Race traits tied to the race that your character was, and your virtue traits would be tied to, say, your deeds. When you would unlock a virtue trait in your deed book, which I'll show you in a second, you would complete however much of whatever needed exploring, killing items, and then you would unlock that level of virtue, and you would slot it, like I am here. And when you slotted it, that was adding that stat to your skills. Now, for example, here, to unlock this next virtue, I have to kill 60-something orcs. And I would get turbine points, I would get the next valor trait, and I'd get reputation and marks. Now, some virtue traits take a very long time to get. Like, it could be like 500 or 1,000 orcs you gotta kill to get like virtue rank 7 or 8. And it doesn't skip. So, leveling your character, just getting his virtues up, could take a while. And race traits, since this character was a dwarf, it had dwarf race traits. Looking at the class traits for this character, there is 3 different trees. Now, this tree system wasn't in the launch of the game. So, this here is completely new. They kind of took the same approach as other MMOs where you have 3 talent trees and you can put points into them. This here is an overview of each one. As you can see, they give stats and they give abilities. Once you select the one you want, now you can start plugging points into them, which is the same style that WoW had a long time ago, that Star Wars The Old Republic has, and many other games also have. But what's kind of cool is you can put them into one tree, and you can also go over and throw a point. It costs more, but then throw a point over into other trees. So it kind of gives you a little bit more customization to how, instead of sticking with one tree. Looking at the race traits now, you can unlock many different things, and this is just for the dwarf because it's tied just to race. So these ones would be different for a man and a hobbit, etc. and so forth. So these are the ones that I've unlocked so far, is just these 2. Now, you get these from doing certain deeds that are tied specifically to race. It's just like getting virtue traits, it's just these ones are class specific. And the only thing that's changed here is it's got a new fancy little window that it all shows up in. They have changed a lot of how you can customize your character since when the game first launched. It was just race traits and virtue traits, but now that they've added the entire skill tree into it, it definitely adds a lot of customization, basically making the character feel like it's your own and separating you from everybody else, which I'd like to see in the future what they're going to incorporate and build off of that. So the next thing we're going to look at is basically the quest log. The quest log is exactly how it was when the game first launched. They have made a few tweaks to it, which is really cool. They still have the volume books, your main story quest, and one thing, they've added lots of new quests and other quest lines and a lot of content to the game, which, just giving you an idea looking at all the quests here just for this one area, there's many other areas in the game, so thinking about how many quests there are, it's definitely a lot of content. You can also tick the side, and it brings it up in the side panel over there to show your active quests. The colors go from light to dark depending on difficulty. So it's pretty much standard what every other MMO is. Okay, now we're going to be going into the DLog. The DLog has expanded so much and grown over the years, which I'm going to show you now. There has been so much content that's been plugged into this game that when I remember starting this game, there was only like one or two tabs here at the bottom, and there was only one at the top. And now looking at it, all this stuff has been added over the years. Where you got your fishing, your Shadows of Angmar, you got your class ones, and at the bottom here shows the different zones. So when I click on Eridor, and I down here and I'm like Arid Loon, this is the stuff here in Arid Loon that I can complete to unlock virtues and other neat little stuff and get reputation. And to think that there's been that much content in the game, that there's all these tabs now, and there's just been, this is a prime example of how much content's been put in this game, which is a lot of content. Going into the social log, this is kind of what I wanted to point out earlier. If you look here where I'm going to type this in, take a good look at the level range, and I just looked all over the world. Okay, I will, when we're done, I'll explain why I'm pointing that out. Looking at the social tab overall, you still have your following, you still have your kinship tab, which is your guild tab. You have your raid tab, which shows how your makeup of your group is, and your group stage info. Group stage info shows your lockout timers, to where, for example, if you down a boss and you want to jump back in, you have to jump back in at that boss. And that basically completes the social tab. It's very similar to how it's always been. There's been no drastic change with it. So looking at Lord of the Rings Online overall, Turbine has been very good to this game. It has a lot of content. It has a lot of expansion packs. It has many levels. The max level cap right now is 100. You have just lots of story content and lore if you're a Tolkien fan. There's like the story quest and the book quest and the chapters. The story's very rich here. Going back to the social panel I showed you earlier, where I said take note of that, it's twice in the video, is this is my only big concern with this game, and that is the amount of players. I feel this game might have lost the MMO of the MMO RPG title. Doing a who is at different times, from basically like level 1 to 65, 1 to 75, I pulled up that there was, 65 players in the server, and the max you can show in a list is 99. That's what scares me. If you're looking for a game that you can hop on and there be crap ton of people in general chat, you can sit here and just nonstop talk it up, and there's many different kinships that you really are not going to find that here. What you're going to find in here is a small community. A small community of players that is very strong. The people that are in the community that are playing the game now are some of the nicest I've seen. That you can ask for help in general or world chat. There's very few people in each zone that everybody just talks in world. That you can ask for help and you will get 15 responses of people wanting to help you. And I think that is amazing. Other games and people should take note of that. And if every game was like that, oh man, it'd be awesome. But fortunately, it's not. So if you're, like I said, if you're looking for that game that you can breeze through the content solo and just enjoy the story and all the quests, this game I would definitely say give it a try. If you're looking for that game that you can grind up, jump into a guild, start raiding, boom, 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 getting gear and clearing content, the guilds are going to be fewer and the raids might not be as much, but I mean, just keep that in mind. This has been Yanny Videos doing MMO Revisit of Lord of the Rings Online. If you like what you see, hit the like button. If you want to see more, hit subscribe. I hope that at least somebody took away something from this. It was somewhat informative. I hope you liked the video. I had fun making it. It was really good going back to this game. I'm a big fan of Tolkien and The Hobbit, the Lord of the Rings books. It was really great to go back and play this game.